If you haven't heard, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor distributes your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Alright everyone, hello, and this is episode 20 of Growed Up, the show where I, Fernanndo, talk about all things related to adulthood, what we thought adulthood would be when we were kids versus what it is now that we are adults. And I cannot believe that I've actually made it this far. I've actually made 20 episodes. I'm so proud of myself. Disappointed because it was a good period of inconsistency, but the fight continues. So much so that it is right now. What time is it now? Let me tell you, it is in South Africa. It is 20 to 1 a.m. And I am committed to the cause. That's why my voice is all hoarse and stuff, because I've been struggling for as excited as I was about this topic, or not this topic per se, but this episode. Actually, not even this topic per se, this episode. I was very excited that, oh my God, I can't believe this is such a milestone. I have to go in solo this time. I'd like to have a one-on-one, because it's been a while since we have had a one-on-one. Maybe I should actually have a sip of water because my voice hoarse, you know? So it's been a while since we did the one-on-one. So I thought, why not do this for episode 20? And and I've been talking to myself about it. What am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk to my friends about? You know what I'm going to talk to my homies about? Being you guys, right? And I, for the life of me, could not figure out what to talk about until, I'll say, 19 October, yesterday. Well, not yesterday anymore because it's now 21 October, so the night before, whatever. I received some really disturbingly sad news for me. And it pertains to, I'd say, closure and just certain decisions that we make in terms of who we choose to dissociate from for the sake of our peace of mind. And I lost somebody that I had done that to, that I limited contact with. And I didn't get a chance to do the whole closure thing and really come to terms with what had happened. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to talk about that. You know, I think it would be a great thing to talk to you guys about how maybe certain things can interfere with your healing process. But then I was like, no, it's too dreary, it's too dry, it's too fresh, it's too new. I will talk to you guys about it one day, but not today, because then I spoke to my friend Kenny. You guys know Kenneth by now, and me and Kenneth were on the phone. I had just finished editing Black Woman Business, episode 13. Go check it out. Search Black Woman Business wherever it is that you guys listen to your podcasts, or head on over to www.neonbloom.co.za and you'll find the latest episode over there. But I just finished editing that and I was like, damn, I have not yet recorded episode 20, and it is going for, like, it was what, 8 o'clock, 8:30, and I was on the phone with Kenny, and I was like, in Kenny, you said you're not talking about kipiting. Kipiting is fat and sit. Fat and sit is basically living with someone out of before you guys get married, right? So being in a relationship with someone and moving in together. It's a big conversation in our African community. There's a lot of thoughts and principles regarding this. So I thought it would be an interesting subject for me and Kenny to get into because he's very passionate about it. But then I took some time to set up, like about 30 minutes or so. And shame, Kenny fell asleep. When I called him to do the episode, he had fallen asleep. So I said, Bunolo, Nolo, my friend, you guys know. You know Bunolo. I said, Nolo, I'm stuck. I don't know what to talk about. I thought I was gonna talk about my grief and my closure and whatever issues I have right now. But this is a celebratory. This is a celebration. Okay, this is a celebratory episode. I need to talk about something alive. Help me, friend. Help me. And Bunolo came through. This is going to be a little bit awkward considering that I'm going to be talking by myself to you about this, but it's juicy, it's spicy, just like Fernanndo. By the way, for those of you who don't know, I am Fernanndo, your host. And for those of you who know me, hello, friend, welcome back. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm very excited and unprepared, as you can tell, because I'm just like going on. But what I'm going to talk about, what Bunolo has given me, is sex. I'm going to talk to you all about sex. You might ask, what about sex? Sex is such a broad subject. What are we going to talk about? Well, what I'm going to talk about sex to you is my personal experience from what I thought sex was when I was a kid up until I lost my virginity. I'm not going to go further than that because it's none of your business. I giggle. I'm just opening my folder here. But I want to talk about what my journey has been with sex and see, and then maybe one of these days I'll dive deep with Kenneth and Bunolo. I move a lot. Maybe I've noticed actually when I was listening to my podcast that my sound is always dodgy because I move a lot. I need to stop moving a lot and concentrate on you, my friend. Friend, let me tell you. My first introduction to sex, what I thought sex was. So in Mozambique, as kids, we call it choco choco. I don't know. Now, in retrospect, I think I know why. Choco 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 choco. I think that's why it just sounds like choco choco or doko dok, But that's how we refer to as sex as kids, which is basically, I understood that at a very young age, because where I grew up, it was not necessarily a rural area. It's not that, but it's just that we grew up in such a tight-knit community and we were so free as children to be out, in the early 90s, just go outside and come back when the sun goes down. And we all know, I'm sure, for most of us who grew up in those times, the freedoms that we had as kids to explore beyond our imagination, beyond the acceptable realms of what children should be playing with. And I had a relatively fair idea of what sex was, but I just understood it to be a penis and a vagina to touch. I didn't understand that there was a hole that your penis goes through. That a penis goes through, the penetration. I didn't understand penetration or any of that, but I just thought it was your vagina and your penis touch. That's what I knew. How I learned that, I don't know. Why I learned that, I have no idea. Who taught me that, I don't know. But I do know that this was a common thing amongst my friends and I, that we all knew at that young age. We knew choco, like, come on, And a weird thing happened where I went with, it's a very, very faint memory, but clear in a way, but faint. I was probably 6 or 7 years old. And oh yeah, I left my house and I went to someone else's house who lived in our area, in our block, opposite block, but our block. And he was older. No, 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 he wasn't older. I went there to go look for a friend, and there was the older guys, and I presume they were teenagers, right? And a bunch of kids. I am laughing, but this is not funny. And I will preempt this by saying that this is not okay. But there was this freedom in my time when I was that young, that it's certain restrictions that are in place now, and I'm happy, but they weren't there when we were younger. In the early 90s up until the 2000s, there was just, we were exposed to a lot of bullshit. We were exposed to a lot of crap. And I was chilling, and these guys put on a tape, and I tell you, it was pornography. And that was my first time seeing porn and seeing sex for what it was. Now, I will not be able to tell you how I felt about it because I can't remember. I can't remember whether I was horrified. I know I didn't. I think I was mortified. I know I didn't like it, but I can't really say exactly like what went through my mind, what I was thinking, but it just brought a whole other picture to sex that I didn't have, because up until that point it was just penis, vagina, touch, but now there was another hole, and this big thing goes into that thing, and this lady's going screaming and making sounds, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I didn't stick around because it was just so weird. It was a weird thing. And luckily my friend that I was waiting for came around, and we went outside, and we played, and that was never it was never a thing again. So I I could say that I went through life. So would say, what, how old was I? I was 7 at the time, and yeah, I went through life. Joko Joko is Joko Joko, but now I guess I knew more. But I didn't also understand the repercussions of sex, right? I didn't understand pregnancy. Girl, I lie. Oh my God. You know what I just realized? When I was 8, okay? When I was 8 years old, I think I must have been in grade 4, grade 5 in Mozambique. I learned about the reproductive system. Yes. So I did learn this stuff. I just realized because it was at school that I learned um, about the pregnancy, where I saw the image of a vagina, but the diagram where I saw the penis, where I learned about the trompas, trompa, the fucking thing, the elephant thing, that fucking thing on the vagina, in the inside, that thing that looks trompa. Forget the name. Yeah, I actually did learn about, but I learned about the reproductive system, but I still, for some reason, didn't click. And it's so weird. I learned about sperm. I learned about, the ovaries. I learned about menstruation. I learned about all of that. I was 8. I do remember this well, 8. And I still didn't put two and two together of how does the semen get into the ovaries. I don't know. That was still, and I'm pretty sure it was taught to us. And I'm wondering if it's like maybe a memory that I blocked out or something. I don't know. But I learned about that. So I'll say fast forward to 2000, after I got Steven Johnson, and when and after I got sick. So after I got Steven Johnson, so for those of you who don't know um my story there, I will have to link it, but I can't remember what episode it is. But I'll have to link it. I'll link it in the show notes, and you can go back. It's another solo episode where I just talk about, yeah, I don't know, but I know I touched on that. Um, but I had, so because of my injuries, because of the disease, right? There was some injuries that I contracted. I guess injuries is not the correct term, but my skin got I mean, it got affected. I had sores and all of that. So through my healing, and this is going to be a little bit graphic, right? Some parts of my body, um, some parts of my body attached in the healing. Okay, so there's, for example, some parts of my gum that are stuck to my lip, type of thing. My tongue is shorter because the bottom got stuck. So through the healing, there's some changes that happen in my body. And part of those changes are down there. But everything works fine. It's just very minor things. So during that time, my mom, who was a nurse, oh my God, that woman, my mom, who was a nurse, was very obviously concerned with my well-being and how I was recovering. And she would do, uh-oh, uh-oh. Okay, I was just checking if I'm still on. But she would do constant checks on my lady parts to see that everything is okay and that I'm healing and stuff and so forth. And I remember, from this is not from 2000 and 2000 up until maybe 3 years after that, 2000, no, not even, like the next year, 2001. I went for my first gynecologist appointment, right? Yes, I'll get to the sex, don't stress. I just realized that now as I'm speaking, more and more is coming to me. But now this is kind of my um doesn't matter. Why am I explaining myself? Jeez. So I went to my first gynecologist appointment and I was petrified. Why? I hate injections. What does that have to do with going to the gynecologist? In my mind, anytime I go to a doctor, I don't care what doctor, any doctor, I feel like there's a risk for me to get an injection. So even if it's a gynae, I feel like I'm going to get an injection, and that scares the shit out of me. I'm really scared. I don't like the possibility of having to get an injection. And mind you, this is now 11, 12-year-old me. Okay. I'm going to a gynecologist. My mom explained to me that a gynecologist is a vagina doctor. I'm like, oh shit. I don't want to get an injection in my vagina. That was literally my fear going there. And I'd sit on this like, I don't want to get an injection in my vagina. I don't want to get an injection in my vagina. I'm so scared that this guy's going to shove an injection or something up my vagina. I was very scared of that, right? And time comes, we do the waiting thing, and they call me, oh, Miss Fernanndo, will you come here? Dr. Herbert is waiting for you. Good, we go there, set up and lay down. Doctor, like, it was very uncomfortable, but it was one of those checkups to make sure that everything is okay down there and all of that stuff. And I tell you, I felt something. I felt something creep up my vagina. I did. And I screamed like, I cried Bloody Mary. And my mother was right there. I screamed. I screamed so loud that the receptionist ran in like, what is going on? And he's like, no, it's just a little brush. It's a little brush or whatever thing it was. And then he made me say like, no, it's nothing. Don't worry. I was just, I think he was, I think he was testing to see if I've got feeling down there. I think that's what he was doing. Like, hey, girl, can you feel something? I was so scared because I had it in my head that I'm going to get an injection in my vagina. so, so I yeah, then we finished the appointment. I don't know what him and my mother and my parents spoke. But in the come like in, what was that for? I kid you not. This is what my mother told me. My mother said, yeah, my mother said, your reaction, although it was super dramatic, it was the right reaction because that proves that you're a virgin. If you were not a virgin, then you would have been comfortable with something going up your vagina. You wouldn't have, you know. I was like, how dare y'all? How dare you invade my privacy like that, you know? But my mom has a very bad habit of saying shit that is not true to kids. Sometimes, even now at my age, she tries to to bullshit me, and she'll say things that I'm like, that's not true. You know, I think she forgets that I'm an adult woman now. She thinks I'm still 12. So she'd always say shit like that. And I don't remember us even having like the talk. All she would always say is like, if you have sex, you're gonna get pregnant. If you have sex, you're gonna get AIDS. If you have sex, you're gonna get pregnant. If you have sex, you're gonna get AIDS. That's literally what the talk was for my mom, with my mom. So one day, what my mother did to me and my brother, but this was more for my brother than I. My brother was now, this is like now many years forward, right? And my brother was, I would say 14. He's younger than I am by 5 years. So by this time, I'm like 16 or something. He's, no man, what is my math? No, he was 12, 13. Yeah, 12, 13 there. I know I was like 15, 16. Whatever, doesn't matter. Just, nah. So she's like, I'm chilling with her in her bedroom. She's like, Fav, come here. He's like, Ma. She's like, are you having sex? It's like, Ma, I'm not going to talk to you about this. What are you talking about? And like, I'm not going to say this. It's like, I'm asking you, are you having sex? No, man, Ma, this is awkward. Why are you asking me this stuff and whatever? She pulled out a book. My mother is a retired nurse. I don't know if these things are traumatic or hilarious. I really can't find a balance here. She pulls out a book and she's like, come here, come sit here. And she sits on the bed between myself and my brother. And it's a book full of STDs, full of STDs, all the STDs you can think of. They were there. They were there. I don't know. It was the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen. And she says, and she says, you see, if you have sex and you don't tell me, this is what's gonna happen to you. I was like, woman, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you say that? But she always said that shit to us. She always said stuff like that. Like, if you have sex and you don't tell me, you're gonna get AIDS. If you have sex and you don't tell me, your penis is gonna fall out. Like, she'd always say the most outrageous shit, you know. So I I I wouldn't say that I was traumatized by any of that because I was never phased by that. I just knew my mom to be just that extra, you know, and my brother as well. So it was like, of course, you know, you can't expect anything more. But she really did try to like, hey guys, be careful and stuff. But my mom is not like, she's very straightforward. It's like, and if you lie to me, you're gonna you're gonna end up like this. So I would say that for the most part, I had a very close sense of virtue. So here's an interesting thing. This is where my life kind of starts to change. My two worlds start to collide. I'm now probably already 14, 15. I'm still a virgin. I never had no sex, you know. But I'm in boarding school, and in Mozambique, that's not very common for someone to reach like 16 and still not have had sex. From my friends that all had sex, that all done it countless times and with God knows how many different people. So it was very, virginity isn't, well, at least in my time, and I'll talk about my peers. I don't know about now, but virginity wasn't so treasured, right? But with my peers here in South Africa, oh girl, if you are not a virgin, you are a hoe. You know what I mean? And on that side in Mozambique, if you are a virgin, you're a clown. Like, what are you doing, girl? Like, open up your legs, get you some fun type of thing. And I'm like, nah, girl, nah. You know, because I'd adopted that sense of importance, that sense of value from the South African girls here of, wow, I'm a virgin, I don't like boys like that. I like boys, but I'm not a slut type of thing because that was the mindset. So I had a very, I'd say, closeness to my virginity. I was convinced that I was going to break my virginity in marriage. And plus, that time I was super, super Christian, very devoted, very like, oh my God, I'm not going to hell over some dick. No, no, I'm not going to do that. So I was like, nah, bruh, like this guy, if he wants some of these, he's going to put a ring on it. He's going to marry me. And then we're going to have 3 babies and we're going to be a happy family. And I'm going to be rich and he's going to be rich. And our life is going to be perfect. And I don't know what happened, y'all. Like, I started dating my husband, I think we were 15. Yeah, we were 15 and then 16. Well, I was 15 and he was younger than me, but that's not. And then, start fondling, by the stairs. Now we are teenagers now. Hey, guys, let me tell you. There's a thing that people don't warn you about. The urges of a teenager are incredibly unbearable. They're uncontrollable. I am telling you, we risked a lot. Okay. Teenagers risk it all. I can tell you that. Don't leave your teenagers alone. Don't. Teenagers are willing to risk it all. Do you understand? We were caught a couple of times. We weren't having sex, but we're just, making out, fondling and, being teens, man. And it's like, yo, come, let's meet here behind the tree. Let's go behind the stairs. Let's go to the pool, by the bathroom at the pool. We would risk it all just for a little bit of sexual tension relief. And I don't think I had done any. That was the most fondling that has been done in my life, in my teen years, because it's just so unbearable. It's just so unbearable. And I would say my matric year came. Matric year, my grade 12 year, matric was 2009. But before 2009, 2008, I was really contemplating my life. I don't know in what sense. I couldn't tell you what hit me. But I was like, I've been with this boy for years now, you know? Oh, it had only been 3 years then, because it's 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. Oh, that's so cute. It felt like forever. It was only 3 years. But I was like, no, man, you know, we can do this shit. Let's do this. You know, let us go all the way. You know, and by now, I'd say maybe I didn't even elaborate a lot on like in what was sex and for me. But I mean, you grow. I mean, as a teen, hey, bruh, like in your body becomes a traitor, man. Your body is a traitor as a teenager, man. If it's not your periods being overly, it's your hormones being overly, it's your temper being overly, like it just over and Jay. Like teen is just a treachery. It's just treason of biology. If you ask me, like it's just biology being a Satan, being like, ha, here, adolescence, go for it, girl. But 2008, I'm sitting with my friend at her crib and I'm like, girl, next year is my last year of school. Okay. I am not leaving. Oh, girl. I just remembered Sham Askis. Let me tell you. Because of, I guess I need to explain it just so it makes more sense. Because I lost my eyesight at the age that I did, right? I was on track in terms of grade and age. But because I lost my eyesight at the age that I did, I was held back 3 years because I had to learn Braille, right? And then I was put back to where I stopped. So I went to grade six and I was 13 years old and I started grade six. So that's why I'm older than most of my classmates and stuff, right? So I was about to turn 21. That's what my life change began. That's what changed my life. I was like, am I really going to be a 21-year-old virgin? Am I going to be a 21-year-old virgin? Because if I am, then when am I going to get me some? At 22? That doesn't sound right. You know? And I was like, friend, I am going to have sex next year. And before August, I will have had sex 10 times. After I've had sex 10 times, I will stop counting. Literally, that's where I decided. And that's why I decided to lose my virginity. It wasn't because he was the right one. I think we'd been past that. It wasn't because I had a dream of this perfect. I did have a dream. I'll tell you how I wanted to break my virginity. Okay, I'll tell you. It would have been nice if I and my boyfriend, if myself and my boyfriend got like a room somewhere. I don't know where because we were so kids. Not really, but get a room and have some candlelights and play some romantic music. And he would buy me some roses and would have some chocolate, and melt it and drip some chocolate on the important spots and have them situated upon the situation and enjoy the chocolate, And then he'd ask me, babe, are you comfortable? And I'd be like, yeah, baby, I'm comfortable. And he'd be like, okay, are you sure about this? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm sure, It's like, yeah, okay, let's go. And then I learned that breaking a virginity hurts. And I was like, it's fine. He was going to make me relax and it wasn't going to hurt. And if he did, he'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, baby. I'll go easy on you. All that shit. But that was only up until I was 16. After I was 16, I stopped thinking about how I want to break my virginity. Now I was on a mission. I had a purpose. I had something to achieve before my 21st birthday. In December of 2008, I turned 20. I was not going to reach December of 2009 a virgin. That was not going to happen. By August, I would have had sex 10 times. And after that, it wouldn't matter how many times I'll have had sex. So, what happened? I lost my virginity that year. 2009. Was it January? Was it February? January, February. But it was in 2009. Let me tell you what happened. My husband cannot sing. At the time, he was my boyfriend, but he cannot sing. But somehow, there was a missing slot of voices in the choir. There wasn't a missing slot, but we were such a small school and we had such a great choir conductor and he wanted us to sound amazing. So the more the merrier, and I will deal with you horrible singers. I'll know how to place you. And this is how that man did it. I'm a good singer. Shit. He would take a bad alto and put it and put her get it. I can't believe I refer to a person as an it. He'd put the alto next to me and this person would sing horrible. But his theory was if they could listen to me sing and listen to the other alto next to her, who was also a good singer, sing, then they would try and match the notes and maybe they wouldn't be so off key. But the problem with this is that really that alto was very bad. My husband was not as bad as that alto singer, but he's not a singer. But it was something to do, right? And also considering 2008 as the choir, we went to Cape Town. We did some cool ass shit, right? So we had choir competitions. And for these choir competitions, we would hold choir camps for like a whole weekend. That man would take us and make us sing for the weekend and sing and learn the songs. And it was literally the choir camp. So we had the competition for 2009 and my husband was also part of the choir. I'll refer to him as my boyfriend just for fun. My boyfriend was also part of the choir. So choir camp starts in the beginning of the year because the choir competition is usually in the middle of the year, May, June, July, somewhere there in the cold August. I and my boyfriend and the other people who were also in the choir were having supper one Saturday afternoon. We were having supper after the choir practice and we ate, obviously. And the hormones, the adolescents, the things, they kick in, right? So while the people were washing dishes, my boyfriend and I went upstairs to my room because we were having dinner at the girls' hostel, right? Not at the boys, we were at the girls' hostel. So I could go to my room and I was a senior. I was a prefect. I was the head girl at the hostel. Okay, so who's going to tell me anything? Nobody. I took my boyfriend up the stairs to my bedroom and we started making out. Then we started making out. Then we did the nice things. Here's an interesting detail to know. Our rooms do not have keys. And the teachers would constantly try to, who's where's who's where, you know? But I was willing to risk it all. And I said to him, let's do it. We are going to break our virginities right here, right now. And so we did it. We broke our virginities right then and right there. For like 5 minutes. Point is, it didn't hurt. Huh? It didn't hurt. And also we couldn't really go through the whole process because, we could have gotten caught. And if we had gotten caught, we were risking our grade 12. Okay. And the irony was, as soon as we got off and got up, my roommate walked in and she could have been a bitch about it and called us out, but she didn't. She was like, and she decided to go tell everyone else that, oh my God, I caught her and him having sex. Oh my God. Right. But that's the sort of how I broke my virginity. Very, very anticlimactic, nothing special. But I just love that story because I was so excited Why was I that excited? Not necessarily because I finally broke my virginity, because now I was on a mission. That was the first of 10 times to have sex. Okay. And if I tell you guys that when I said we risked it all during the fondling phases, oh, girl, we risked everything. Everything. Anytime we got to sneak out of class and just go get in some, we did. It was just horrible, horrible how thoughtless we were, how careless we were, but we were never caught, ever. I can't tell you when the 10th time was. I stopped counting, but I will tell you. I wasn't going to tell you, but I'm here. I'll tell you. I have a very weird, very, very weird first orgasm story. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was one of those days that we risked it all. We were at the girls' hostel. The boys were at the boys' hostel. It was 25 June 2009. A lot happened that day. It was the Confederate Cup. South Africa was playing Brazil, and they lost. It was a day that the great legend Michael Jackson lost his life. It is a public holiday in Mozambique because it is Independence Day in Mozambique, and my parents were in South Africa that day somehow, but not where I was. Girls are not supposed to be where the boys are, and boys are not supposed to be where the girls are. This is hostel rules. This is boarding school rules, okay? But we lied to all our hostel mothers. I locked mine upstairs. I locked her. And me and the group of girls, including Bunolo, friend, you were there. We opened the hostel for the other boys, including my boyfriend. And we found a corner. And we risked it all. And that was actually when I had my first orgasm. And that could have possibly even been number 10. But I don't know. But this was even before August. Do you understand? So, yeah. So my first orgasm happened the day Michael Jackson died. That's the funny story that I had to tell you. It wasn't funny, but hey, that's the connection. Let me even make sure. When did Michael Jackson die? But he did die on that day, guys, because I remember the next day going to class, and my teacher was like, "Hey, did you guys hear? You know? Yep, 25 June 2009. Ha! Is when Michael Jackson died. Is when I had my first orgasm. But either way, yeah, and that's how I finally got into actually having sex. And there's something that I wanted to get into, which is like in how people find it weird that people with disabilities or being blind means that you can't have sex. But this one I'll actually get into it with you know with who? I'll get into it with Nolo and Kenny actually. This is a subject that will be fun to touch because I tell you, I've heard the most absurd things of like, how are you having sex? You can do it. How? I'm like, bitch, shit, don't try me. I'll tell you. And I ain't scared to give you details. I'll tell you. I'm my mother's child. Full of shit like that. But yeah, that is my journey of sex and how I started having sex. And ironically, this year I also had the sex talk with my son. Not because he's gonna have sex, but because he was asking me where babies come from. And I had to tell him where babies come from. And he was, yeah, not too happy about it. I was quite honest, you know. I told him, I was like, look, there's the sperm. Ooh, shit. Excuse a bitch. There's the sperm. There's the ovaries and the girl body, the boy body, and then the sperm has to get to the egg. It's like, how does it get there? I'm like, well, you gotta put the we in the vajayjay. He's like, ugh, that's disgusting. He goes, is that sex? I'm like, yes, boy, that is sex. I'm like, yeah, that is sex. But I was thinking as I was doing my ill prepared preparation for this, what would have been the sex talk that I wish I got? You know, I think I wish my mother was a bit more honest about safety, right? And say you can have sex, but there's safety precautions. I wish there was less fear. So I wish it was more like this. Okay, okay, here's an idea. I'm going to give you guys the sex talk. You're my child now, okay? And I'm going to give you the talk, all right? So you'll be like, Mommy, where do babies come from? I'll be like, yo, my child, are you ready to hear about it? Yes, Mommy, because all my friends are telling me all these things and like, I don't know if it's true and all that shit. I'm like, okay, my boy, don't swear, nah? Okay, Mommy, I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, so listen, I'm a boy, my child, my girl, let me tell you. When, wait, I'm giving you the sex talk, I get. Yes, what is sex, Mommy? Okay, all right. Wait, I am actually now starting to lose track. Okay, I'm gonna now give you the actual sex talk. Okay, I'm gonna stop fucking around now. All right, it'll be more like this. Look, sex is a natural occurrence as a biological creature, you know? Um, Part of life is that we have birth, we have life, we have reproduction, and we have death. So there has to be a system that ensures that this process occurs. And part of life is sex. Because as you have sex, biologically, maybe some might say that the intent is for you to make babies to reproduce. I guess there's nothing wrong with that. But also, as humans, as we are today, as modern humans, we have feelings of desire, of impulse, okay? We are not very good with resisting certain urges. So we have learned to have sex for pleasure. I wouldn't say we have learned, but we have sex for pleasure too. But there's repercussions when you have sex for pleasure, okay? If you're not protected, my child, you can get sick. You can get diseases. You see this book? Your grandmother gave me this book. Look at this book. Do you see all these diseases you can get? You can get sick, my child. So use a condom. You know, aside from this, there's pregnancy. My child, you're a child. Huh? Don't have babies. Because if you have babies, I'm not going to take care of your babies. I'm going to send you to your girlfriend's house and you and her family are going to take care of your babies there. Because I only had one child. Okay? And I only had one child because I didn't want to take care of more babies. So you giving me babies, it's not going to work, my child. So bottom line is, don't have sex. And that would be my sex talk. I'm joking. I don't know what. This is so bad. That is so bad. I don't know what the ideal sex talk would be, but I do wish that my mother was less scary in terms of. I remember I even told us, like, and Mommy, there's this boy that I have a crush on, or he likes me and I have a crush on him, and I think I like him. I think, on a date, he's like, hey, when if you get a boyfriend, you're gonna get AIDS. I'm like, mother, hey, man. So I'd say don't do that to your kids. Don't traumatize them. Don't show them STD books. Don't tell them or remind them constantly that they're going to get AIDS or that they're going to fall pregnant. Just, guys, I don't know. Now I don't know what I was thinking about this talking point. Now my point is, guys, I'm very happy to be here because I'm here because of sex. I'm alive because of sex. You're alive because of sex. And I would like to try and normalize this talk a little bit more, that we are a little bit more open with certain challenges that we might have in the bedroom. And I think this was just an introduction to say that I do talk sex as well. I'm a little bit awkward about it, but I mean, if we need to talk about it, we can talk about it. Different things, different stamina, different pressure points, pleasure, things in jail, like whatever, you guys will say, hey, Fernando, listen, bruh, like, yo, my guy, help me, guys. Like, I'd be like, bruh, it's fine. Yeah, I'll try. Like, so that's me, bruh. Like, I have sex. I like sex. I talk about sex sometimes, not to my mother. She wants to talk about sex with me, but I don't talk to her about it. She traumatized me way too much, but I do. But yes, I just want to really wrap this up by saying that I am so proud of myself because if I don't tap myself on the shoulder, ain't nobody else gonna do it for me. I literally sat here by myself at 1 a.m., okay, talking to a microphone about sex, okay? So I gotta give myself props for that. And I'm very excited for the next 20. And I know there's going to be many more because this marks my commitment personally, I'm happy that I have you guys with me every week. I'm happy that I get to share my space with my friends every week, every other week, and we talk a lot of shit, but it's the shit that we really talk about in real life, real shit, funny shit. We just shit all around, But thank you everyone for tuning in. Next week, I will be here with a special guest. Like I did 2 episodes ago, I've told you all that I'm going to very often do some dive-ins into some musicians that I do enjoy, people that I am in contact with or close with, and I would like to give musicians also a platform to have somewhere to dive deep into their work. And I will have Uncle Tanik, and we're going to be diving into his new EP called Scroofville. I almost said Scroofminaza. Scroofville. And you can search this everywhere you listen to your music. But also thank you for tuning in for another episode of Growed Up. If you want to keep up with our new episodes, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Google Podcasts. We're just in so many places. Anchor, I can't even mention everything else by name, but search Growed Up and follow, subscribe so that you don't miss any new uploads, and go to www.neonbloom.co.za for you to listen to other shows from the network. We have the Boudoir Wrap Up, we have Black Woman Business, and we have obviously Growed Up, and we have some podcasts that are yet to be picked up again. From Kenny, we have Music and the Mind. Just go crazy with content, and I really am so grateful. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all again next week.